Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Million Dollar Body Podcast, the intersection of physical and financial success. I'm Nate Palmer. And if you're here, you're probably a high performer, an entrepreneur, a business owner, or a busy professional that's interested in gaining an unfair advantage in your own life by using fitness and nutrition as force multipliers. So if you're not already part of the Facebook group, definitely go to n8thetrainingsystems.com/group. That's where we stream these podcasts live every Tuesday. You can join in, ask questions. There's a ton of cool stuff happening in the group, as well as a massive amount of free resources. Again, go to n8trainingsystems.com/group. And if you've listened to this podcast before, you know that one of the things we love to do is give a shout out to people in the community. One of my big goals for the entire Million Dollar Body community is that everyone in this group, in this community, gets healthier, gets in better shape, and makes more money. That's just like a really important aspect. So as that, I like to help promote people in the group and talk about people who are doing a good job. So today I want to give a shout out to Jeremy Baxter. Jeremy has dropped about 32 pounds using the principles in the Million Dollar Body System since he started in phase one, like 2 or 3 months ago. So he's absolutely been killing it. And when I asked him about it, what I loved, he said that basically it's not necessarily a diet. He doesn't feel like it's been like super crazy. He's changed a couple things about his eating, having the smoothie in the AM, some veggies and proteins for lunch. And he said that one thing that I loved, he said, is my mind is vibrant. So that's what we're looking for, because you make more money. You feel better when you're vibrant, right? We've had those days. I had like 7 of them in a row last week where I just felt like a steaming pile of dog shit. And I was just kind of in a funk, woke up not with no energy, just couldn't break out of it. And it was just because and it made me realize that when you have that energy, when you have that vibrant, like mental acuity, you're making good decisions, you've got good judgment, everything in life gets easier. So that's what we're trying to bring to you guys here in the community. So if you have not checked out the Million Dollar Body Method, the book, or the Million Dollar Body coaching program, let me know, and we can help set that up, make it really, really easy for you. So today the podcast is going to be, it's called This Equals That. This equals that. Okay. So I think that there's so much information about pre-workout nutrition. What do you eat before workout? What do you drink? What should you be having? That we forget about pre-performance nutrition, pre-deep work nutrition, pre-creative processes nutrition, or like pre-conference nutrition. And these are all things that a lot of us as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as busy professionals, people who are like C-level executives, are just like trying to dominate on our careers as well as in like our physical health, that this is something we deal with on a regular basis. So why does no one talk about it? Okay, and I want to unpack like 4 of the most common things that I hear from people that are kind of a struggle. And I want to say, okay, if you're doing something like an AM presentation, here's what you should eat. If you're doing creative work in the morning, here's what you should be having. If you're doing an all-day conference, here's what you should eat. We're going to talk about this equals that. And then at the end, I'm going to share one question that I think can really change everything about how you view nutrition. It can totally shift your mindset. Okay. So stick around to the end, because I think this is really, really important, regardless of if you're vibing with this, if you're like, man, I just tell me how much protein I need. And we'll talk about that as well. Okay. So this equals that. So common daily activities and how to eat in a way that gives you an edge. And by edge, I mean like, how do you stay on point longer? How do you stay focused? How do you stay in flow? Okay. So the first thing that I think of when I think of entrepreneur types, business owner types, is someone who's like doing a lot of the grunt work. And this maybe applies to more of like a solopreneur, someone's doing all of it by themselves, kind of like, doing the marketing and building the Facebook banners and doing all their emails and doing the videos. And I resonate with that. That's basically where I'm at. Okay. I do a lot of this stuff myself. And so when I have something that's really important to do, for example, like creating an email sequence, not the sexiest thing, creating a lead magnet, building out a course, like editing a bunch of videos where it's like, I know this task is going to take me 2 to 3 hours. There's a couple things I do. So I call this like deep creative work. Okay. Deep work, creative work, something like that. It's about the same for me. So I know there's something big that I have to do. Honestly, and writing this book for me was really a big aspect of this, just sitting down and getting really deep into it. So deep creative work. Here's the secret to getting more done in less time, as well as feeling better, being more focused during that time, is especially and I'm talking about in the morning. So in the mornings is when we want to be doing most of our creative work, because you're just going to be feeling fresher. You're going to be feeling more focused. You're going to have more energy. So let's do those things in the morning. So the first thing you want to do is avoid eating, actually. And this is going to take a lot of people by surprise. They're like, well, shouldn't I have like a healthy breakfast? Shouldn't I? Yes. But if you want to get the most done, if you want to get the most like like wild in terms of like mental energy, don't eat. Don't eat in the morning. What you need to do is you need to wake up. You need to follow one of the 7 daily investments I talk about in here, the AM routine. The AM routine in this book, y'all, it takes about 60 seconds, maybe 90. Okay. And what it involves, in case you're like, bro, I can't read, just hit me with it, is you need to wake up, you need to do 60 seconds of explosive activity. So like jumping jacks, just 60 seconds, real quick. No, you better turn it back on, that light. Do jumping jacks like that, and then you're going to get 32 ounces of water. This is super important, okay? The more water you have, the more energy you're going to have, the more your brain's going to function, the better the coffee's going to hit, the caffeine and stuff that we will be taking later, bet your ass. So if you're also like, I don't drink caffeine, I don't do coffee, then maybe this part's not for you. So here's what we want to do then. Wake up in the morning, you do your AM routine as dictated by one of the daily investments in the $1 Million Body Method. Then about an hour after you wake up, so give yourself a full hour to be awake and out of bed, is start having some coffee. And what we want to have with that coffee is a fat source, okay? And a lot of times the fat source can be just a great way to help the caffeine transcend that blood-brain barrier. So you're going to get more of a direct impact from the caffeine into your brain, okay? What this translates to is you feel more energized. You feel like you're just a little bit more like up. And if you ever had that experience where you're like, man, I had 6 shots of espresso right now and I'm feeling like I'm a little bit twitchy, it's kind of like that. Like it's kind of that level of energy, but the fat is really nice because it mellows it out and it like gives it kind of like a time release. So you get a little bit more out of that caffeine over time. Super, super important. Okay. So a couple of the best ways to do this, like you could have like 2 tablespoons of peanut butter and just off the spoon. That's fine. I prefer to do an MCT oil or a coconut oil into the coffee. And generally, if I'm doing something like that, I'll throw a little collagen peptides in there as well. Okay. So in the morning, 32 ounces of water, AM routine per the $1 Million Body Method. And then have a cup of coffee with some fat in it. MCT oil or coconut oil is the best thing. And just sip that through the deep work, okay? And trust me, if you've never tried this before, like this is the keys to the kingdom right here. I'm not supposed to like give away all my good stuff, but I'm going to. I'm gonna give it to you because if you try it out, it's gonna blow your mind. If you don't try it, then who cares? So having that coffee with fat in the morning is gonna get you through deep work all day, every day, and you're gonna feel incredible. As a note, like MCT oil is one of the few fats that digested in your gallbladder, which can lead to your body triggering more fat burn. So you're gonna actually be burning more of your fat while you're using that caffeine, while you're getting more work done. It's beautiful. Okay, so try that out. So not only is this a great way to get a lot of energy, it's a great way to burn fat and feel amazing. Number 2, what about AM presentation? A meeting, something that's high stakes. You got to present your like beautiful slide deck that you've been working on. You did all that deep work, right? And then now you have to present it to your company, to the CEOs, to the board, to whoever. Maybe you're standing on stage and giving a presentation. Maybe you're trying to close some people into a new program or a new product that you have, and you need to be on point. Okay, so generally speaking, so we don't want to go into these hungry or with quite like maybe the mental intensity that comes from that first like tactic I gave you of just having the coffee. I feel like sometimes like that can be good. You sit down at a desk, you get all this work done, you stand up, you're like, and maybe that's not what you want when you go stand on stage. You want to give like a cool, calm demeanor. So in that case, what I always recommend is doing the same thing, the AM routine, very important here. And then you're gonna have a high protein breakfast with high fat in it as well. Okay, so something that's as simple as a protein shake with some peanut butter in it. So simple, right? Or you can do one of my favorite breakfasts, which is I think like it's going to keep you full really long term. You're going to feel really good. You're going to have plenty of energy, and you're going to feel really, really nice and calm. As long as you have an hour beforehand, having a breakfast of meat and nuts. My favorite is like chicken thighs and almonds. Easy. So if that's something that was going to work for you, try it out. Let me know how it goes, because I think it's a game changer for sure. All right. So AM presentation, anytime where you're going to be standing, you need to be like on point mentally, physically, but also you don't want to have like the ultra intense mental energy going on that you need to really thrive when doing some like deep work. Okay. All right, PM creative work. It gets a little bit different now because you don't want to be pounding coffee at like afternoon. For me, I always stop drinking caffeine at about 11 o'clock. Otherwise, it impacts my sleep. For some people, that's like noon. Some people, that's 2 p.m. But either way, like we want to limit the caffeine you're having after about 12 o'clock in order to maximize the amount of rest you're getting in the evening. So you can't just be pounding like coffee or even like green tea, or you shouldn't be or if you're the type of person who's like, I'm just crushing energy drinks all the time, that's maybe not the best option. So PM creative work, what we want to do is we want to have a light lunch. There's a quote that says, if you want to do more, eat less. You want to get more done, eat less food. Okay. And this is super true because the more we eat, the more we pull blood from our brain, from our appendages into our gut for digestion. So big, like big martini lunches, big meals of burgers and fries and stuff like that. That's all going to weigh you down. It's going to slow you down, and it's going to prohibit you from getting that deep work done in the afternoon. So what do we do in the afternoon? Number one, tons of water. More water is more energy, right? And if you've ever felt like, man, I just like, I'm hungry, I'm grumpy, I just don't feel really good, like my joints kind of hurt, you're dehydrated first and foremost. And water is like, if you are not drinking enough water, then all the Red Bulls in the world are not going to do you any good. If you're not sleeping enough, you're not drinking enough water, no supplement's going to pull you out of that hole. Okay. So water is massively important for energy. Don't forget that. So with your lunch, probably have another 32 ounces of water. Okay. Then I would have a lighter lunch, something that's just high protein, high vegetables. Think about the food that you're eating as being energy giving, right? So multicolored, like even like carrots, vegetable strips, bell peppers, things like that can be just great. Try not to dip them in like creamy dressings, slowing you down. Fried food slows you down. High carb slows you down. All those things. Okay, so we want to have a lighter lunch, lots of vegetables, lots of protein, and then I always like to include what I call a trigger. Okay, and a trigger can be one of numerous things. Okay, and this is something that basically I'll take to start turning me like onto the idea of like, hey, we're about to get into some work. Okay, so this can be a couple different things. Number one, I've tried different supplements that are like nootropics. You know, anything that's not caffeinated but still like supposed to help you with get like an edge mentally can be a good option. Like On It has a few products. There's a couple of like mushroom products out there that can be really good. One I've been really enjoying recently is a vitamin C or a 16 vitamin mineral complex that I've been getting from Advocare, and I mix that in with a scoop of vanilla protein and make like a creamsicle, or I'll mix it in with a scoop of collagen, because vitamin C and collagen, when you combine them together, the vitamin C helps the collagen do more with less. You don't need 20 grams of collagen; you only need 10. So vitamin C and collagen, having a protein in there is excellent. Okay. So anytime I have that, I go, okay, this is going to help me get energy. So another thing that I like to do as a part of the $1 Million Body Method is use a scoop of green powder. So like athletic greens, or, anything like that. Just like wheatgrass powder, something like that, with a scoop of collagen. That's a perfect mid-afternoon energy building drink. Okay. And then just make sure, like, this is a little bit woo, but when you have this food, make sure you think, hey, listen, this is going to bring me energy. You don't need to like get all like weird with it and like sprinkle like Salt Bay on it or anything like that. But just think, like, as you're drinking it, be like, hey, I'm so thankful for this because it's going to bring me a ton of energy. I'm going to get a lot of work done and be very productive. Okay. So that's what I would do. Number having the light lunch, lots of water, and then a trigger to help you get into that zone. Okay. Triggers are also helpful for sleep as well. And then the last one I want to talk about, this is something we deal with a lot. And if you haven't done this yet, then it could be on the agenda for you. So just keep this in the back of your mind. But all day conferences, what are you doing full day conferences to stay up, stay energized, take notes, get a lot out of it, not fall asleep in the back, or, be that guy who's like, talking to their neighbor, not really paying attention. So all day conferences, again, the rule is you want to get more done. You want to pay more attention. You eat less. So eat light all day, tons of water. Bring a lot of water with you. It's really important, because that way you're not standing up, going to get in water, feeling like, oh man, like I just drank my 16 ounces. Now I'm not going to be able to get another break for another 2 hours. Bring a lot of water with you. In the morning, similar to what we do for that AM presentation, high fat, high protein breakfast in the morning. Try to have more calories in the morning, just proteins and fats, and then more calories in the evening, which can be kind of proteins, carbs, and then less calories in the middle of the day. Okay. So if you want to have a technical lunch, something like that, it's like you're going out to eat with people, have like a salad, have something light, again, high vegetables, high protein content. And then if you're like, I'm trying to just snack a little bit here and there, then have high protein snacks, and then bring like a bag of carrots, again, some vegetables, hard boiled eggs, beef jerky work really well for this. Try to avoid protein bars, Cliff bars, things with high calories, granola bars, yogurts, things with sugar in them. Okay. So eat light, lots of water, high fat, high protein in the morning, snack on proteins, vegetables to avoid slumps during the day. Okay. Drink a ton of water. Just like one of the best possible tips. And then if you want that trigger, another good one that I'll do to kind of stay alert for long drives, conferences, is nicotine gum. I've talked about this before. It's a powerful nootropic. Basically, it'll help your brain turn on. People who chew nicotine gum remember more, react faster, and are better at tests. So, don't have to try it, but I'm bringing you the facts. You can do whatever you want with them. You're welcome. So the other thing that we want to know is we just want to make sure that the levers. Okay. And there's two particular ones that I wanted to share about, because this, I think, is something that we as business owners, entrepreneurs, business professionals, we are kind of guilty of. And that's what does sugar do to our bodies from not from a cellular perspective or anything like that, because a lot of people will tell you, oh, sugar is bad for you because you diabetes, you cancer. Okay, sure. But aside from all that, what does it do for me here and now? What does it do for my mental state? What does it do for my family? What does it do for my finances? What does it do for my physique? Okay. Sugar, number one, it's going to give you a crash soon. Okay. So whether it's a big crash where you're like, oh, I'm tired, I need to go sleep, or just a little crash, sugar, having something with high sugar, high carbs is always going to mute you, bring you down a little bit. Okay. So as long as you know that, you can decide, have sugar, don't have sugar, doesn't matter. But you got to know what's going to happen to you. You can't be like, oh man, I can't believe I had a whole Cinnabon and now I'm tired. You knew, don't lie. You knew you've had Thanksgiving before. And then number two is, so you're going to get that little bit of a dip. And then also what sugar is going to do for you, it's going to give you cravings later. You're going to be craving sugar. You're going to be craving sweets later. Okay. So if you're up for those things, if you're ready for it, then fine. By all means, enjoy yourself. The second thing is energy drinks. Energy drinks are not really going to give you energy. They're basically going to let you borrow energy from your future self. So future Nate has to pay the piper on that. And then I have to kind of pay that back later. So having energy, it's going to give you energy right now, but it's going to give you a crash later, and it's going to give you cravings later. Okay. So just know that ahead of time that energy drinks, that's a Band-Aid at best. Okay. And if you're still drinking energy drinks with sugar and or taurine in them, then you might as well just throw that money in the trash and then not have it. Just slap yourself in the face really hard. And that's better and cheaper. You don't spend $3 on a Red Bull, which has 80 milligrams of caffeine. I swear you get more tired after drinking a Red Bull than you do energized. Just saying. So here's the one thing I wanted to get to kind of at the end here is a question that you need to change in order to kind of access these deeper behavioral changes. And I think that once we realize that we are always asking ourselves questions, and we're always thinking in terms of questions, then it becomes easier to see these as they arise. So when you are hungry, a lot of times you're thinking, what would I like to eat right now? What am I hungry for? What do I want? What am I craving? So those things, those questions are going to give you one set of answers, right? Could be Cinnabon. I got Cinnabon on the brand. I don't know if you can tell. It could be a donut. It could be a soda. It could be something like that. Okay. So that's the one question. What do I want? What am I hungry for? Now that's the question that drives 95% of people when they're choosing foods, which is why obesity rates are steadily climbing. We need to change that question. So I challenge you right now, before you go have your next meal, I want you to ask, instead of what do I want to eat? What am I craving? What am I looking for? To ask yourself, how do I want to feel? Just change that one question. How do I want to feel after this? Okay. And what's going to happen is you're going to go from being what am I hungry for? Taco Bell. How do I want to feel? Good. Probably not Taco Bell is the answer then. So if you you don't have to be a biochemist or a nutritionist or anything to actually understand, hey, that the carrots help me feel this way, and this breaks down into these molecules and helps me feel this way, or carbohydrates turn into glycogen through this, and then gluconeogenesis and that, and the Krebs cycle. You don't need to know any of those things. I already have a lot of that laid out for you, either through podcasts, in my program, etc. But what you do need to know is you need to start putting yourself in the position to ask that right question. How do I want to feel after this? How do I want to feel? And so maybe after dinner, you're like, man, I just want to feel tired. I want to go to sleep. Great. Well, if you want to have pizza, that's an okay choice at that time. During the day, most of us are not man, I want to go to sleep at 2:00. But in the off chance that you're like, hey, I had a long morning, I want to take a quick nap. A great thing to do is have a higher carb lunch, have some sugars in there. It's going to put you to sleep. So asking yourself that question, how do I want to feel, is so much more valuable than what do I want to eat? What am I craving? So how do I want to feel is good? Or what result do I want from this meal? I ask myself that a lot, especially during training days hard workout days. What are my results from this meal? What am I looking for? I'm looking to build muscle with this meal, so I'm going to eat in a specific way. I want to feel energetic after this meal, so I'm going to eat in a specific way. And if you ask that question, so much of this other stuff becomes superfluous. So much of like keto or low fat or low carb or what should I have or Atkins, not like that stuff. You just cut through the bullshit and the noise, right? Like it just makes it so easy. How do I want to feel? Great. Well, I'm going to eat in a way that reflects that. And if you have questions on like the technical aspects, what levers to pull, what switches to flip, I have all that for you. So don't get stressed out over that. But you have to start with, what result do I want? How do I want to feel? And if you can change that question in your mind, it's going to make a huge difference in how you feel long-term and the result that you're getting from your nutrition, both from an energetic perspective and a physique perspective. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. I hope that this was really helpful. Though right now, if you want, there's 2 free ways that I can help you with your fat loss goals. Number 1, go to n8trainingsystems.com/group and join us in the group. And number 2, if you jump into the group, you're going to want to get a copy of my book. It's $1 Million Body Method. You can grab this on Amazon, but I'm also giving out free copies to all group members. So make sure you jump in and grab a copy. Just drop me a note that says, hey, where's my book at? And I will get you that. Okay. So once again, go to n8trainingsystems.com/group. We'll get you into the group, and you can also access a free copy of my $1 Million Body Method, which goes through a lot of what we just talked about on this call. And lastly, remember, if you don't want to think about this stuff and you don't want to have conversations or figure out a plan, just drop me a note right below. Send me a DM that says lean, and I'll set you up with one of the best plans on the planet for helping entrepreneurs develop superhuman focus and rapid fat loss. You know, to think about it, it's about meal plans, grocery list, which makes everything super, super easy in there for you. No worries about having to create anything by yourself. All right. If there's anything else I can help out with, let me know. Otherwise, I'll look forward to seeing you later. Bye.